Okay, so we're going to go ahead today and we're going to start on our bellies. So I've been really curious about like working with anxiety and like learning to breathe. And so we're going to start by just lying down on our bellies. So I want you to start in heads up, 7 up style. So you might walk your hands to the opposite elbow, and then you might walk your elbows just an inch, maybe even a millimeter closer to your chest. And then you can walk your feet as far as apart as your mat, and then let your feet do whatever the heck they want to do. And the first thing I want you to do is I just want you to see where you can soften any tension in the body. So in this position, can you soften any tension around your neck and your shoulders? Can you notice if you can relax your pelvis? You might need to shift your hips a little right to left in order to let the pelvis and the low back soften. And then I want you to notice what's happening in your jaw. Is your mouth tight or is it loose? Is the tongue pinched or is it wide? And then I want you to see if you can start to just take 3 big audible breaths. And as you breathe in through the nose, good morning, Julie, and out through the mouth, just notice what you notice happening in the belly. Notice what you notice happening in the diaphragm. So Julie, we're starting on our belly in crocodile pose, forearms stacked on top of each other, forehead on top of forearms. And then as you continue to lay here, I want you to see if you can start to even out and smooth out your breath. We're just going to be here for about 3 to 4 more breath cycles. And the task is just to see how smooth you can make your breath. And so the inhalation, see if that can be smooth and equal, and the exhalation, see if that can be smooth and equal. And then again, notice if anything's tightening up around the body and see if you can let that go. Awesome. At the end of your next exhale, go ahead and lift your head, plant your hands underneath your shoulders and make your way to hands and knees. And then when you find yourself on hands and knees, let's go ahead and inhale and arch the spine, and exhale and round the spine. And you'll just take 4 more just like that, just starting to invite movement into the body. And if you're happy as a clam just doing these cats and cows exactly as you are, you will continue to do exactly as you are. Otherwise, the next time you find yourself in cow shape, I want you to squeeze all the muscles on your back body as though you could get the top of your head to touch your tailbone. And then you'll exhale and round your spine in. So you'll do 4 more like that. So every time you come into cow, you squeeze all the muscles on your back body, trying to touch your head to your butt. And so what we're trying to do there is we're just trying to activate the muscles around the adrenal glands in the back of the body, the kidneys in the back of the body. And you're really trying to engage the back of the body to help open up the back of the body. Awesome sauce. And after you've done about 4 sets of those, you'll inhale to a neutral spine, and then you'll make your way back down onto your abdomen. So we'll come back down to that heads up, 7 up style. Maybe you put the other forearm on top. And now that you're back down onto your abdomen, I want you to breathe specifically into your abdomen. So every inhale, you're pressing the front of the ribs down into the floor, the belly button down into the floor. You're noticing the pelvic floor widen. And every exhale, you're allowing the pelvic floor to softly come together and lift the belly to come away from the floor. And you'll just take 3 more breath cycles like this. And again, we're staying with that idea of your breath being smooth, your breath being even. Yeah, releasing any tension around your neck and shoulders. And at the end of your next exhale, you'll gently plant your hands underneath your shoulders, and you'll inhale and come back up to hands and knees. Awesome. And then we're going to repeat those cats and cows. So you'll inhale, lift the belly, drop the belly, lift the head, lift the tail, squeeze the back body. You'll exhale, round through the spine. This time, squeeze the front body. So see if you can draw your low belly closer to your spine. And then you'll take 5 more of those. So inhaling, cow pose, squeezing the back body. Exhaling, pressing the floor around, squeezing the front body, trying to hug everything in and up. Awesome. And as you take these about 3 more times, you're really trying to work the spine, to work the breath. And we're focusing today on, really gaining and harnessing our shaktis, the energies of the body. A lot of times or anxiety manifests when our energies are just moving all over the place. Our shaktis aren't contained. Awesome sauce. So let's go ahead and inhale and come to a neutral spine. On your next exhale, press yourself back into a little child's pose. And you're just going to take about 3 to 5 breaths here. And again, the belly is pressing into the thighs, so you really breathe into the belly. And as you're exhaling, I want you to imagine that for some reason you've got 4 sets of doors at your pelvic floor. And so you're closing your pelvic floor front to back and right to left as you exhale, and then that's pulling up to your head. And then you're inhaling, dropping the pelvic floor, widening the pelvic floor. And we'll just take 2 or 3 more breaths just like that. Awesome sauce. On your next inhale, go ahead and come forward back to that cow shape, little baby cows. As you exhale, curl the toes under, lift your pelvis up and back, downward facing dog. Keep your knees bent. And so in this downward facing dog, we're going to bring our awareness once again to our pelvis. But before we do that, let's press down and forward into the L shape of our hands. It almost feels like your heels of your hands slide forward, your shoulders slide forward into the heels of your hands, your pelvis lifts up. And now we've got about 5 steady breath cycles here. So as you breathe, you're still breathing into your belly, but you're seeing if on the exhale, you can close your right and left hip towards each other. Close the front and back pelvis towards each other and draw all of that up towards your head. And then as you inhale, you softly release that grip and you allow the pelvic floor to widen. So this is engaging your mula bandha. And you'll just take 3 more breaths like that, really paying attention to the pelvis, really paying attention to the exhale, drawing the pelvic floor together and up, and allowing the inhalation to soften and release any tension in the pelvic floor. And from an energetic perspective, all this is doing is this is trying to contain, to harness all the energy in your abdomen. Awesome sauce. On your next inhale, let's go ahead and shift yourself forward to a little baby cow shape. As you exhale, press back to that child's pose. This is our little reprieve. Inhale, come back forward, little baby cow shape. Squeeze the back body. Exhale, hips high, downward facing dog. Great. Let's move on. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. As you exhale, hug that right knee towards your nose and carefully plant the right foot on the floor. Soften the back knee to the floor, pat it if you need to. And then you might want to put your hands on blocks or just simply start to walk your hands up the front thigh. Depends on what's going to work for you. Awesome. So once we're here, let's all press down into our front foot, press down into your back knee. See if you could send your right shin bone forward, your left thigh bone back, and lift up through your spine. Some of you will stay right here. Some of you will reach your left arm forward and your left arm up and over your head. From here, you might stay here and just continue to breathe into your pelvic floor. Or you might start to take a little side bend towards the right. And again, your left thigh bone is drawing back, your right shin bone is drawing forward, your right foot is stamping down, your left knee is pushing down and dragging forward. And you're just breathing. You're just breathing. On your next inhalation, you'll come back up through center. As you exhale, bring your hands down to the floor. Shift your weight forward just a bit and straighten your back leg long. You might put your left hand on a block. From here, bring your right hand to the outside edge of your right thigh. Lengthen your spine as much as you can and take in a deep breath. Press your right thigh out into your right hand into your right thigh. Take 3 more breaths here, finding length into the front body. Stamp down into your right foot, lift up through your inner left thigh. Yep. And then at the end of your next exhalation, you're going to start to pull the belly away from the right thigh and rotate your left shoulder towards the inner right thigh. You might then start to reach your right arm up towards the sky, but you're drawing that left shoulder away from the ear. You're drawing the right thigh bone straight back, and you're rotating around the spine. Nice job, guys. Take 1 more breath here. Heart reaches forward, head leads slightly back. Yep. On your next exhale, twist a little more. Inhale, unwind the spine, and exhale, step back, downward facing dog. Take a moment to breathe here. Just notice what you notice between the right side and the left side. And then as you're ready, we're going to inhale and come forward into plank pose. Pause. Press down through the hands, lift up through the armpits, up through the inner thighs. And again, pay attention to what's happening in the belly and how you're breathing into the pelvic floor. On your next exhale, you'll shift your weight forward and lower slower than you want to, all the way down to the mat, keeping your head lifted the whole time. Nice job, guys. Once you make it onto your bellies, separate your feet about hip distance apart. Press down into your hands, and like you're turning the hands away from each other, squeeze the hands isometrically into the mat, pull your heart and sternum forward, legs engaged, and come as high as you want for cobra. And then you'll exhale and you'll lower all the way back down. Inhale, come up through hands and knees or plank pose. And then exhale back to downward facing dog. Take 3 breaths here. Notice if your knees can be a little straighter or if they still like to be bent, but you're still tipping your pelvis up to the sky. You're still breathing actively into your abdomen, and then you're noticing if you can release any tension around your head and neck. So your head comes out of your neck. Yep. Next inhalation, sweep your left leg up and back. And then exhale, hug the left knee to the nose, plant the left foot on the mat. Nice job, guys. Lower the back knee down to the floor, patting it if you need to, and then maybe hands and blocks, or you walk your hands up the front thigh. Once you find yourself there, find your stability. So press down into your left foot, push down into your right knee, draw your left thigh bone forward, your right thigh bone back, or left shin forward, right thigh bone back, and see if you can lift the pelvis up and away from the floor. And some of you will stay here. Some of you will reach your right arm forward and up and overhead. And some of you will just breathe here, finding strength and stretch on that right side. Some of you will take a little side bend over towards the left. And again, you're really rooting into your left foot. You're really pressing into the right knee. You're drawing your left shin bone forward, your right thigh bone back. Nice job, guys. On your next inhalation, you'll gently come back up through center. As you exhale, plant the hands. Shift your weight forward just a little bit and straighten the back leg long. Now keep that back leg super engaged. Right hand might come to a block. Left hand comes to the outside edge of left thigh. Push your left knee out to the left. Pull your left knee into the right. Lengthen your spine as long as you can. Yep. And then from here, you're just going to take 1 more breath, seeing if you can find the length in the vertebra. At the end of your next exhalation, you'll start to pull the belly away from the left thigh. The right low ribs come into the inner left thigh, and you'll rotate the spine. Nice job, guys, towards the left. Draw that right shoulder away from the right ear. And then some of you will fan that left arm up. Some of you will not. The heart reaches forward. The head leans back. Nice job, guys. Take 1 more breath in. At the end of the exhalation, you'll rotate a little bit more, and then you'll inhale and unwind. Take a breath in here. Next exhalation, step to the top of your space. Now, once you're at the top of your space, go ahead and separate your feet about hip distance apart. From there, inhale, slide your hands up your shins, reach your heart and sternum forward, bend your knees as much as you need to. And then you'll exhale, scoop the belly and fold all the way in from your tailbone to your crown. Yep, and we'll do that one more time. Inhale, heart reaches forward, pubic bone reaches back. Yep, and then exhale, fold in. Nice job, guys. This time we're gonna add on. Inhale, halfway lift. As you pause, exhale and stay here. Next, in breath, bend your knees, touch your fingertips to the floor. As you exhale, reach your sternum forward, draw the belly away from the thighs. Yeah. Inhale here. Nope, you're still there. Exhale, sweep your arms back, parallel to your floor. Yep. And then inhale, bring your spine up to vertical, sitting for chair pose with your hands alongside your hips. Nice job. Awesome. Now from here, you'll inhale, keep your butt low, reach both arms forward and up. As you exhale, just swim your right arm back alongside your butt. Inhale, the right arm returns to meet the left. Exhale, the left arm swims back. Yep. Inhale, both arms come up. Exhale, both arms go back. That was one set. We're going to do that one more time, switching sides. Inhale, both arms reach up. Exhale, left arm swims back. Inhale, left arm comes forward. Exhale, right arm swims back. Inhale, right arm comes forward. Exhale, both arms swim back. Inhale, both arms come forward. Exhale, sit a little lower. Take a big breath in. Another big breath out. Next inhalation, stand up, reach up, look up. And then exhale, lower your arms. Take a moment to breathe in here. Take a moment to notice what you notice. We're going to build heat and we're going to build the breath. Next inhalation, circle sweep your arms up and overhead. Exhale, hinge forward at your hips, Uttanasana, forward fold. Nice job, guys. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. As you exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step back, downward facing dog. Great. Inhale, come forward into plank pose. Exhale, lower slowly to the floor, all the way, one piece. As you inhale, you'll press into the hands, pull your heart and sternum forward, press into the legs, cobra pose. And then you'll exhale and lower all the way down. Inhale through hands and knees or plank, your choice. Exhale, downward facing dog, 3 breaths. Bring your awareness back to your pelvic floor. Bring your awareness back to the belly breath. And you're just noticing what you notice. A lot of times it seems like anxiety happens, at least for myself, when I feel like I'm unable to control anything. But our breath lets us remind ourselves that we can have some influence over the breath, but it also lets us remind ourselves that everything ebbs and flows. All right, let's go ahead and add on. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. Exhale, right knee to nose. Take a moment to pause and soften the right foot to the floor. Yep. You might bring your hands to your blocks at this point. You might not. Step your left foot slightly to the left and spin the foot down. Pause here for warrior 1 legs. Again, press into your right foot. Draw your outer right hip back. Press into your left foot. Draw your left thigh bone back, your right shin bone forward. Inhale, lift your heart and sternum forward, spine super long. Exhale, airplane your arms back alongside your hips. Next, in breath, push into the feet and bring your spine all the way up to vertical. Awesome. Pause here with your hands alongside your hips for a moment. Draw your right shin bone forward, your left thigh bone back, and see if you can descend your pelvis a smidge. From there, let's go ahead and cactus your elbows out alongside your ears. Now you might need to look to the right and left to make sure your elbows are in line with your shoulders. And then I want you to draw your elbows 1 millimeter forward, your hands 1 millimeter back, and then hug your shoulder blades onto your back body. See if you can then square your torso to the top of your space, and then let your spine come forward as your heart lifts, and then notice, yeah, what's happening in your breath. Some of you will stay right here. Some of you will start to straighten the arms and reach them up and over your head for Virabhadrasana 1. So you're still pressing into your feet. You're still breathing into your belly, and you're noticing the containment that's happening in the pelvic floor. Nice job, guys. At the end of your next exhalation, you'll inhale here. As you exhale, go ahead and straighten your front leg, lower your right hand alongside your hip. Awesome. Take a big breath in here, reach up through your left hand. As you exhale, you will reach forward, out and down, making your spine as long as you can. So your right arm is reaching back, your left arm is reaching forward. Once you get halfway down, you'll lower your left hand to the blocker floor underneath your left shoulder. You might then bring your right hand to your right hip. From here, pause. I want everyone to find as much length in your spine as possible. So long, straight front body. Slight bend in your front knee. Your right shin bone goes forward. Your left thigh bone goes back. And are you breathing? From here, start to press into that left hand even more till your left armpit comes up. Yep. And then you'll start to peel the belly away on the right side to rotate the left ribs under, the right ribs on top. That right hip is pulling back. From there, you might start to reach your right arm up towards the sky, but your right leg stays straight. Your right outer hip draws back. Your left inner thigh reaches back. Nice work, guys. On your next exhalation, wring it out a little bit more, and then inhale, unwind. Exhale, plant the palms, step back, downward facing dog. Nice work, guys. From down dog, you'll inhale and come forward into plank. You can exhale through Chaturanga Dandasana, inhale through a cobra or an up dog, but you're taking your time. So whatever you're doing, you're allowing yourself to fully breathe. You're fully breathing. So there's this comment that's said a lot of times that, between a stimulus and a response is choice. A lot of times I find, for myself at least, anxiety comes up when I don't take a moment to notice the space between a stimulus and a response. So as you're in this down dog, you'll notice the stimulus, whatever's coming from the body, and then see if you can notice the space before you have a response, a reaction. Awesome sauce. Let's go ahead and try the other side. Inhale, sweep your left leg up and back. As you exhale, left knee to nose, take a momentary pause. There's the space, and then lower your left foot to the floor. Nice. From here, hands might come to blocks once again. Step your right foot slightly to the right and forward and spin the foot down for Virabhadrasana 1. Pause, press into your left foot. Pause, press into your right foot. Draw the left shin forward, the right thigh back, reach your spine parallel-ish to the floor. And then exhale, airplane your arms back. Inhale, squeeze the legs together to bring the spine up to vertical. And then take a moment to pause. Let that left shin continue to come forward, the right thigh to continue to go back, and allow your pelvis to descend just a bit. From there, you might cactus the arms once again. And then notice, with the elbows in line with the shoulders, can you hug the elbows forward a little bit? The palms back just a smidge. Notice how that allows the opening of the heart space. You might choose to stay there, or you might start to straighten the arms and reach the arms alongside your ears. But we're going to continue to breathe, finding that space between the stimulus, and the response. Finding the space between the stimulus and the response. And when our pelvic floor is engaged, it means that we are rooted. So that's why we're doing all these crazy leg things to start. All right. On your next in breath, stand up, reach up, look up. Yep. And then exhale, lower just that left hand alongside your left hip. Sorry, Julie, we're still, there you go. And then next in breath, reach up more through your right arm. And as you exhale, you'll start to hinge forward, but that left arm is reaching back as much as you're reaching forward with that right arm to hinge at the hips. And then once you find yourself halfway, lower that right hand underneath the right shoulder to the block or the floor. And then you might bring that left hand to the left hip. And again, we're going to press into those feet. The left shin is going to come forward just a smidge. The right thigh is going to go back. The spine is parallel to the floor. From here, you might hook your outer left hip back a little bit more and then press down into the right hand. Scoop the belly on the left side and start to rotate the right ribs towards the inner left thigh, the left hip back, the right thigh back. And then you might start to extend and open that left arm if you'd like, but you're really just paying attention, the difference between the stimulus and your response. There is space. Nice job, guys. At the end of your next exhale, you'll twist a little more and then you'll inhale and gently unwind. Lower both hands to the mat and then go ahead and step back to downward facing dog. Awesome sauce. Inhale, come forward to plank. Exhale, cycle through cobra or up dog if you'd like. And then you'll exhale back to downward facing dog. And I want you to see if you can slow down just a little bit. Slow down just a little bit. One of the things that I find funny when I notice my mind working when I sit for meditation, it seems like my mind loves to come up with things that will bother me. I'll be in like a perfectly serene state, and then my mind will be like, oh yeah, did you forget about this thing? I think it's part of my mind's job to worry so much. But there's the stimulus, the mind, there's the response, whether I get caught in it, but there's the space where you can notice it. So what is that thing for you? What is the stimulus? What is your response? And where can you create a little bit more space? All right, let's move on. On your next in-breath, you'll gaze to the top of your space. As you exhale, you'll bend your knees, you'll empty the belly, and you'll step or float to the top of your space. Nice job, guys. Once you get there, pause. Inhale, halfway lift, heart and sternum reach forward. Yep. Exhale, fold all the way in. Keep your fingertips on the floor. Inhale, bend your knees. On your next exhale, scoop the belly. Inhale, heart reaches forward even more. And then as you exhale, airplane your arms back alongside your bum. Inhale, spine comes to vertical, butt sits, lower arms reach up. Utkatasana, chair pose. And you've got about 3 breaths here. Can you press down into the big toes? Can you hug the outer hips in? Can you reach the heart and sternum up? Nice job, guys. Next inhalation, you'll stand up, you'll reach up, you'll look up, and you'll exhale and slowly open the arms alongside your hips. Take a moment to pause, really root into your feet. Great. Next inhalation, open your arms out so they're parallel to the floor. As you exhale, wrap your right arm underneath, your left arm on top, give yourself a hug. You might double wrap the arms and lift the elbows for Garudasana arms. You might not. Next inhalation, let's go ahead and bend your knees super low. As you exhale, shift the weight to your right leg. Make your left leg a little lighter. And then you'll cross your left thigh up and over. Maybe hook the back of the toes to the back of the calf. Maybe it just touches the floor, but there's stimulus and there's response. See if you can bend a little bit more into that right leg. Nice job. On your next inhalation, gently unwind, plant the feet, unwind the arms. Nice job. And then just take a moment to shake things out if you need to, wiggle around just a little bit. Stimulus and response. Sometimes we need to remember that we're like animals, like dogs, and they shake things off and it makes things a little bit better. All right, let's go ahead and try the other side. As you're ready, inhale, open the arms out to the right and to the left. As you exhale, you'll wrap your left arm underneath, your right arm on top. You might just hug yourself. You might lift and double wrap the arms, elbows in line with shoulders. And then you'll inhale and bend your knees, sit your pelvis low. As you exhale, shift the weight to the left foot, make the right leg a little lighter. And then you'll cross the right thigh up and over, maybe hook the toes to the back of the left calf. And then notice if you're breathing. Our breath is that place between the stimulus and the response. Yeah, good job, guys. Take one more breath cycle here. Next inhalation, gently unwind. If you need to wiggle it out, wiggle it out. And notice that the second side for most of us was a lot more stable. It was the same thing, but it was a lot more stable. We were able to mindfully know that there was a difference between the stimulus and the response. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to move on. Let's turn to face the long edge of your mat. As you turn to face the long edge of your mat, you might want to block towards the top of your mat, so the short edge of your mat as well as the back of your mat, but you decide what works for you. Awesome. And then let's separate our feet about 3 feet apart, maybe wider depending upon how long your legs are. And then let's all turn our right toes to face the short edges of the mat, turn our left toes to face the right toes. The left heel spins out a little bit more. And I want everyone to push down through both of your feet, pull your kneecaps up and keep your hands on your hips for just a moment. Awesome. Now, with your right hand, bring your right hand to the inside edge of your right thigh and make it super straight and strong. Turn your palm to face away from you so the back of your right hand touches you. Great. Now you're going to tip your hips slightly to the left, so towards your back leg, and start to slide your right hand down the inner right thigh and right shin. Pause. I want you to notice how far you can go. So we're trying to find a stretch on the left side of the body. So push into your feet, hug your feet together. Push your right hand into your right thigh shin, right shin into your right hand. You'll rotate the right ribs under and forward, the left ribs on top. Some of you will stay right here. Some of you will then start to reach your left arm back and then left arm up towards the sky to create a 180-degree angle between your arms, and you'll find a crazy stretch happening on your left side. Some of you will want more than that and will start to turn your left palm to the floor and reach it alongside your ears. And you'll find that that intensifies the stretch happening on your left side body, but you're rooting into your legs. That right rib is pulling underneath. That right hand is pushing. Ah, yeah, there you go, Barbara. Pushing into that right shin. Nice job. On your next exhale, turn your gaze to the floor. Inhale, sweep your left arm back, slight bend in the front knee, come back up. As you exhale, lower both arms, turn both feet parallel-ish to the mat, and take a moment to pause. Notice what you notice between your sides. Does one side feel longer? Is the breath a little bit easier? Stimulus and response. Ah, all right, let's try that on the other side. So your left toes turn to face the left short edge of your mat. Your right toes turn to face the left toes. You might need to spin your left heel, your back heel out just a little bit more. So I guess that's your right heel now. Yep. And then with your hands on your hips, I want you to push down through both feet, straighten both legs, release your left hand to the inside edge of your left thigh, palm faces away from you. And then as though you're trying to keep your left side body as long as you can, you'll shift your pelvis slightly to the right and slide your left arm down your left inner thigh towards the shin or floor. So Barbara, keep your chest open for me, please. Yeah, there you go. And then once you found a nice spot, you're going to push your left hand shin together. So left hand into left shin into left hand, left ribs rotate under, right ribs rotate on top. Yeah, some of you will stay there and find your QL on that right side. Some of you will reach the right arm alongside your hip. Then you'll start to reach it up towards the sky, finding that 180-degree angle. And again, you're pushing your left hand into your left leg into left hand, rotating left ribs under. Some of you will reach that right arm alongside your ears, palm faces down, but we're engaging the legs. We're finding this nice stretch in our side body between our hips and our ribs, and you're breathing. Keeping the front leg, both legs super, super straight. On your next exhale, turn your gaze to the floor, and then inhale, bend the front knee slightly, reach back with the right arm, come back up. Turn both feet parallel to the short edges of your mat. Pause. Pause. Yep. Nice job. Now from here, some of you will bring your hands to your hips. Some of you will bring your hands and take reverse Anjali Mudra behind your back. Some of you will just grab opposite elbow behind your back. It's whatever feels better to you. Okay, I want you to slightly bend your knees, reach your heart and sternum forward, and then you're going to slowly start to hinge at your hips, and you're moving mindfully. Chin comes slightly towards your sternum. Yep, so neck stays long. And then once you found yourself halfway, you'll pause, you'll check in. Is this an okay place for your arms? Or do you want to release your hands down underneath your shoulders? And then you'll fold further in, coming all the way in for Prasarita Padottanasana. And you're just going to take a few breath cycles here. Notice the sensations in your body. Notice how you can create space in those sensations by deepening the breath. Awesome. We're just going to slightly start to come out of this. So you might need to bend your knees, and then you're going to inhale and lift your spine parallel-ish to the floor. Hands stay wherever they are. Pause there. You're going to reach your sternum forward. You're going to draw your, there you go, Barbara, head out of your neck, and then bend your knees and come all the way back up. Once you're back to vertical, release your arms. Wiggle out your body in any way that feels appropriate for you. And you're just checking in. We always have a choice, and that choice is always in the space, but we have to remind ourselves that we can take that space. And sometimes we have to shake things off, take a walk, take a breath. You're just giving yourself permission to do that. All right, let's go ahead and add on. So let's separate our feet a little bit wider than they currently are. So wider apart, yep. And then we'll go back to the right side. So turn your right toes to the short edge of your mat, your left toes towards that right edge. And you might need to spin your left heel out a little bit more. Let's keep our hands on the hips for a moment. And then I want you to draw your right shin bone forward, your left thigh bone back, and bend into that right knee. Yeah, okay. And then so we're still in this warrior two. Let your right ribs spin towards the long edge of your mat. So you're trying to still square the torso that way. And then you're going to start to bring that right hand to the inside edge of your right thigh. Now, mindful here, the right arm is straight. It's on the inside. You're going to slide it down. You might find that you just bend the elbow and let that rest on the thigh. You might find that you bring your right hand to a block. You might find that the right hand reaches the floor, but you're paying attention to where that ends. And then once you've done that, press into your right foot, push into your left foot, draw the right ribs under. Some of you will reach the left hand back. Some of you will then reach the left arm up, and some of you will reach the left arm alongside your ears. But again, you're pushing into the feet. You're hugging the outer right hip back, the right ribs under. Yep. Nice job, guys. And the sternum's reaching forward and the head's leaning back. So you're in this extended side angle, breathing super deep. Yeah. On your next exhalation, you'll root through the feet and then inhale, return to warrior two, both arms parallel to the floor. As you exhale, go ahead and straighten your front leg long. Remove that block if it's there, and then turn both feet parallel to the short edge of your mat. Cool. And then wiggle it out. Notice what you notice. How are you feeling? How are you breathing? And then we'll try all that on the other side. So your left toe spin to the left edge of the mat. The right toe spin in. The right heel might need to spin out just a little bit more. Yep, keeping your hands on your hips, you'll start to slide your left shin bone forward, bending the left knee as though somebody was pulling it like you're a marionette. And at the same time, they're lifting that back thigh, the right thigh back and away from you. And then release the left hand to the inside edge of your left thigh. pressing the back of the palm into the inside edge of the thigh, and then hinging at the hips, you start to slide the left hand down. It might bend, the left elbow might bend to rest on the thigh. The left hand might come to the floor or a block. And then you'll reach back through that right arm if you'd like. Maybe the right arm reaches up towards the sky, or maybe it reaches up and over your ears. But then again, you're drawing that outer left hip back. You're rotating the left ribs forward, and you're breathing. Heart is reaching forward, head is leaning back. Nice job, guys. You got one more breath cycle here. The end of your exhalation, you'll inhale and return to Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. From there, inhale, straighten that leg, remove that block if you need to, and then turn both feet parallel to the short edge of the mat. Okay. Now, so for some of us, you're going to take the same exact arm variation for Prasarnapada Tanasana that you did the last time. Some of you will interlace your hands at your low back. All of us will bring a slight bend to the knees, press out through the outer edges of the feet and lift the heart. And then you'll exhale and start to hinge forward at the hips. Chin is coming slightly towards your sternum. Yep, and you'll just come forward first halfway, and you'll notice if that's okay for you. If it is, you'll continue to descend. If it's not, you'll release the hands to the floor before you descend. Once you're down there, if your hands are still behind your back, you might hug the shoulder blades together on the back, reach the hands up towards the sky, and maybe even let them fall backwards over your head. But you're paying attention to what's happening to your body, to your breath as you do this. Yep. Awesome sauce. Very gently, we're going to come out of this. So you're going to bend the knees and you're going to inhale, come back to that halfway lift. Hands reach back, heart and reach forward. Sternum reaches forward. Yep. Yeah. And then when you're ready, push through the feet and come back up to vertical. If you're feeling dizzy, chin comes towards your chest. You'll release your hands. You'll take a few moments to fidget around. What are those things in life that you do that create your space, that allow you to know that when there's something happening in your own life, there is the opportunity to slow down? You don't immediately have to react or respond. You can take a pause. Awesome. All right. Go ahead and step your feet together. Yep. And then let's step to the top of our space. Let's bring our blocks to the top of our space. That might be helpful. If you moved your blocks, make sure they're to the top of your space. Great. And then once you find yourself standing back at Tadasana at the top of your space, really make sure your feet are hip distance apart. Those are pretty pillows, Roberta. And then push down through the feet, lift the kneecaps up, draw your tailbone down, let the heart come forward. All right. Inhale, circle sweep your arms out and up and overhead. And then as you exhale, hinge forward at the hips, reach the hands forward, bend the knees, come all the way down, all the way down, all the way down. Nice job. From here, we're going to inhale and halfway lift, and your hands might come to the blocks at this point, or they might stay touching the floor. Great. Then let's walk, or rather shift our weight to our right foot and lift your left leg parallel to the floor. Keep your spine parallel to the floor. So your heart and sternum are reaching forward, your left thigh is reaching back. Walk your right hand slightly forward and to the right, just a smidge. Now open and stack your left hip on top of your right hip. Pause. Before you go any further, I want you to draw as much energy into that back leg as you're pushing down into your right leg. Then push energy into your your right arm, and push energy out into your head. From there, you might start to open and stack your left shoulder on top of your right. Your left hand might come to your left hip, your left arm might radiate up, but the energy is coming from your core and it's reaching out through your your left leg, your right arm, your left arm. That looks good, Roberta. And then very gently, you're going to unwind. Nice, Laura. Nice, Julie. Nice, Steve. Nice, Sandy. Nice, Jason. Nice, Erica. Nice, Barbara. That looked good. Slowly unwind. And you're just going to take a moment to pause. And you're going to notice what you notice between the sides. Great. And then we're going to go ahead and try that all on the other side. So hands might stay on those blocks if they're there. Lift your spine parallel to the floor. Shift your weight to the left foot, and then float your right leg parallel to the floor. Now, before we go any further, you're pushing out into your right leg. You're pushing down into your left leg. You're reaching out through your crown. Then step your left hand forward and to the left a bit. Start to stack your right hip on top of your left. Then you might bring your right hand to your right hip. That looks good, Barbara. And then start to rotate the chest towards the right. Now, before you go anywhere, the energy is floating back to the right foot, down to the left leg, down to the left arm, out through your crown, and then, nice, Roberta, and then out into that right arm. Nice job, guys. And then very gently, you'll unwind. Unwind, unwind. Great. And then from there, you'll pause. Go ahead and bend your knees and plant your palms. And I want you to step back to downward dog and then rest for a moment in child's pose. And just pause. Just pause. Little momentary breath. Momentary breath. How does the breath feel in the belly? How does the breath feel in the low back? And how does the breath feel in the pelvis? Great. Take one more breath cycle here. And then from there, you're going to inhale and come up to your shin bones. And then you'll make your way onto your belly. So just come up and then come forward onto your abdomen. Once you find yourself onto your abdomen, go ahead and separate your feet hip distance apart. Interlace your hands at your low back. Okay. Now, first press down into your pinky toes and your big toes. Straighten your legs long. Lift your inner thighs up. From here, I want you to focus just on the actions of the shoulders. So you'll draw your shoulders up towards your ears and you'll draw your shoulder blades onto your back. And then you'll hover your head just a few millimeters away from the floor. Notice that the front of your neck and the back of your neck are the same length. So you might need to draw your chin to your sternum just a little bit. And then see if you can, draw your hands away from your bum. And then see if you can hug your shoulders onto your back in order to lift your inner armpits up, to lift your head up, to lift maybe a little bit more of your chest up. Nice. Now from here, you're going to press down into the feet and see if you can hug the shoulder blades even more onto the back to lift even more of the chest up. Awesome. Some of you will stay right here. Some of you will reach back through the feet and lift the legs up and away from the floor. And you'll find yourself in Shalambhasana or a no hands cobra. And again, you're squeezing the back body to make that happen. And then as you're ready, you're going to gently release and lower all the way down. Bring an ear to the mat and take 3 breaths. Release your hands and just take 3 breaths. So it's very interesting. Like if we allow ourselves to remember that there's always space, I think it is where the actual change happens. Bring the other ear to the mat. So the change isn't always what's happening in the doing. It's what's happening in the spaces in between, where we can reflect on what actions we just took and the impact that they had. And that lets us direct how we'll go into the next series of actions that we take. So we're going to repeat that one more time. So bring your hands to the low back, take the awkward opposite interlace. And I want you to notice what actions you'll take. So do you want to start by engaging your feet, engaging your legs, lengthening your tailbone back and drawing your low belly in? Do you want to then draw the shoulders up to the ears and the shoulder blades onto the back body? And then as you start to reach your sternum towards your chin, yeah, that's much better in your neck, Jason. And then you'll start to lift up from the chest. And then maybe you'll notice that you want to lift your hands away from your bum or keep them closer to your bum, but you're taking the moment to make the adjustments. And then when you feel like your head is as high as it wants to lift, you might then press down into the feet more, or you might lift the legs up and away from the floor more, but you're using these momentary breaths to make adjustments into the shape for you. Nice work. And then as you're ready, you'll gently release and you'll lower down. There's always the space. We just have to remind ourselves of that. Nice job. Go ahead and reach your right arm alongside your ears and start to roll over onto your right side and then onto your back. If you do have a block, I encourage you to use one, but you choose to do whatever you want. A pillow would also work here, and you're going to place it in between your inner upper thighs. And you're setting it on whatever setting works for you. And then you'll walk your feet in so they are hip distance apart and your ankles are under your knees. And then from here, you might robot your arms. I want you to push down into your elbows and hug your shoulder blades onto your back body. Lightly squeeze the block and you'll inhale and lift your hips. Your shin bones go forward as the pelvis comes up. And then notice what's happening in the neck. Can you push down into the center of the skull, hug the shoulder blades onto the back body even more? Yep. And then maybe lift the sternum closer to the chin, the hips up and away from the floor. You're squeezing your block or pillow and you're breathing. Pushing down to the arms. Nice job. Very gently, you'll untuck the shoulders. You'll lower the spine back down to the floor. Great. And then you'll just take a moment to pause and you'll take a moment to breathe. All right. So we're going to do that one more time. This time your hands can be long. Those for whom wheel is in their practice, I want you to cactus your arms alongside your elbows, your arms alongside your elbows, your arms alongside your shoulders. Okay. And then when you're ready, you're going to squeeze your block, push down into your feet, lift your hips. Great. And you're still hugging that block. Your shin bones are still going forward. Your glutes are squeezing in. Your feet are pushing down. Those whose arms are long, you might grab the outer edges of your mat and pull the mat wide to walk the shoulder blades underneath you. Yep, and then you might interlace your hands if you want and stay there. Those with your arms cactus, I want you to push down into the elbows even more and see if you can lift your shoulder blades onto the back body, heart lifts up. Great. And then very gently, we're all going to release and come down. So we're going to take a third back bend here. Some of you will go back into a bridge. Some of you will bring your hands alongside your ears and will prep for a wheel pose or Dhanurasana. You know what's best for you, so you just take a moment to check in and feel what you're feeling. So if you are going to do Urdhva Dhanurasana, your fingers are going to point towards your shoulders. You are going to pause. All of us are going to come through a bridge pose first, and then those from wheel will push up from there. So you'll choose whenever you're ready and you'll come up. Awesome. And then those that are in wheel, you're paying attention to what's happening in your neck. Those that are in bridge, you're still squeezing the block and pushing down through the feet. Nice work. And then you're all going to slowly come down. And when you get down, you're going to pause. You're going to keep that block blanket thing in between your legs, and you're going to squeeze that block blanket pillow thing. Okay. Gently release your thighs, release the block. Draw your shin bones parallel to the floor, your thigh bones perpendicular to the floor. Okay, so some of you will be able to reach around and grab the back of your right thigh. Some of you will just have to hold on to the sides of your right thigh. Then you're going to kick your right thigh away from you, pull the right thigh into you, reach your left leg long and away from you, hovering 1 to 3 inches away from the floor. Flex out through your left leg, push out through your right thigh, pull in with your hands, and see if you can then draw your outer right shin away from you. So we're hovering that leg. Some of you will stay right here. Some of you will straighten your right leg long as well. We're engaging some core work as we stabilize the low back. And so you're just pausing and you're breathing and you're pausing and you're breathing. And the lower you lower that left leg, the harder it becomes on your abs, but you choose whatever works for you. And then very gently, you'll bend the left knee, you'll bend the right knee, you'll hug both knees back in. You might compress the low back by hugging the knees into the chest and rolling around just a smidge. And then when you feel complete with that, you'll come to stillness. And then we'll try that on the other side. So hands will come to the back of the left thigh bone perpendicular to the floor, left shin parallel to the floor. And then you'll start to kick out through that right leg, letting it hover 1 to 3 inches away from the floor. Make sure your right foot and your left foot are active. So you're flexing through the feet. You're pushing your left thigh away from you. You're pulling it in. You're hugging your front 2 hip bones together. And then some of you will stay there with that knee bent. Some of you will straighten your left leg long. And you're just pausing and you're breathing. Nice work, guys. Awesome. At the end of your next exhale, you'll gently bend your knees, hugging them back in. You might rock, you might not. And then you'll gently release and come to stillness. Plant both feet on the floor. Cross your right ankle over the top of your left thigh. Actively flex through that foot. Press the ankle against your left thigh, and then hug your thighs towards your chest. Maybe thread your hands through the hole and grab the back of the thigh or the front of that left shin for Sukhi Randrasana. And you're really actively flexing that right foot so you can stretch the outer right hip. You're pressing the right ankle against the left knee into the right ankle. And you'll notice if it feels better for you to be still or if a little rocking movement feels good, but you're paying attention to what's happening to your outer right hip. Great. And then if you're in movement, go ahead and come to stillness. Everyone gently release the clasp, lower the left foot, uncross the right ankle, and then you'll try all that on the other side. So flex through that left foot, press the left ankle against the right thigh, hug the right knee in towards the left ankle, and hug the shape of your legs towards your chest. Thread your hands through the hole, maybe grab the back of the thigh or the front of that right shin, but that left leg stays super active. So the left outer ankle presses into the right knee hugs towards the right shoulder. Notice if your butt cheeks are evenly rooted on the floor, or if it feels like one is a little heavier than the other. Yep. And then you'll just notice is stillness good for you? Is a little bit of rocking good for you? Yep. And then when you feel complete with that, those in movement come to stillness. Everyone gently release your hands, release the right foot, release the left foot. Take a moment to notice the difference. And then last little thing, you'll hug your knees into your chest. Thread your hands through the holes of your legs, grab the outside edges of your feet, press the soles of the feet together, open the knees as wide as you can, keep your pelvis super weighted, and then notice if you can soften the shoulders away from the ears. Some of you will stay right here in the Supta Baddha Konasana position. Some of you will allow the knees to fall towards the floor, the feet to reach up towards the sky for Ananda Balasana, happy baby. And you're just pausing and you're breathing, finding that space. The funny thing is, I think it's in that space where we're allowing ourselves to let go of some of our conditioning. And we're allowing that space for us to fall back into who we are and who we have the potential and the desire to be. And I think that combination is important. You know, we all have the potential probably to be anything, but what do we desire to be? Awesome. We got 2 more breath cycles here. At the end of your next exhale, you'll gently release. And then we'll plant our feet on the floor. Separate your feet outside of your hips, let your knees knock in, and we're just going to take a momentary pause here, just for 3 breaths. 3 little breaths. And some of you will choose to continue to stay here in constructive rest. Some of you will go on to our supine twist, so you'll walk your feet so they're hip distance apart. You'll push into your feet, you'll lift your bum up, you'll slide your butt towards the right, you'll put your butt back down, and then you'll let both legs fall over to the left. From there, you can just let the legs do whatever they want. Some of you might double stack the legs right on top of each other. Some of you might extend the bottom leg long. Some of you might bring that left ankle on top of the right thigh, but you're choosing what works for you. And then I want you to really consciously breathe into your right ribs and your right low back. If it helps, you might bring your right hand onto your right low back abdomen area, your left hand onto your right low belly, and you really can push your hands into your ribs, really push your ribs into your hands as you breathe. And in particular, you want to breathe into the back of the body. The lungs live more in the back of the body than the front of the body. And depending upon how much tension you hold in your spine from your daily posture, this might feel super nice or might not. And you've just got 3 more breath cycles, consciously trying to create space in the right side of the body. Consciously trying to breathe in all 3 of those lobes of the lungs. And then at the end of your next exhale, you'll release whatever variation you took, and you'll inhale and come back to center, taking a moment to pause in center to notice what you notice between the sides. How does the right side feel in comparison to the left? And then gently, we'll try it on the other side. So both knees will be bent. You'll push into your feet. You'll lift your pelvis up and slide it to the left. And then allow your legs to fall to the right. And you take whatever configuration you'd like. It might be the exact same thing you did on the other side for symmetrical reasons. It might be something else just because of how your body's happening to be this morning. But then you're going to breathe. And really, that's the only important part. So can you breathe into the left low belly, the left low back? And sometimes it does help to just bring your hands to that area of your body so that you can feel the feedback that comes from having your hands there. And you're really trying to breathe just into the left low back, left low belly. And you'll notice that because your heart is on this side, it might be a little bit harder to breathe on this side. You might find that, there's a greater depth on the right side than your left side. That's okay. You have less lobes on the side. And so you'll just notice that. And you've got about 3 more steady breath cycles here. And then at the end of your next exhalation, you're going to very gently unwind. And you'll come back onto your back. And before you go anywhere else, I want you to just notice how you feel. And then you'll set yourself up for whatever your final resting pose is. Some of you will be straight up ready to go to Shavasana. Some of you will want to do Supta Baddha Konasana. Some of you might want to do legs up the wall, but you're going to allow yourself to settle in for your final pose. And it is getting colder, so wrapping the body might be a good idea. And then wherever you happen to find yourself, once you find yourself in your final resting pose, I want you to take the opportunity to really allow there to be space. So if you need to fidget around just a little bit more so that the body does feel like it is able to open and soften and yield to gravity. Great. And once you feel like you've settled the physical body, I want you to go a little bit more internal and notice how the muscles are doing. Where else can you soften? Maybe around your jaw, maybe around your throat. Is there any tension around the chest, the abdomen, the hips? Do you feel any gripping in the thighs and the calves, shins, the ankles? Once you feel like you've let go of that, we'll bring our awareness then to the breath. And you'll notice that the more you let the body be heavy, the more you let the muscles be soft, the breath becomes more effortless. It becomes freer. There's space for it to be, to breathe, to expand, to contract. And as we fall into this final shape, I invite you to allow your awareness to just rest on the movement of the abdomen now, following the breath as it enters the body, fills the abdomen, and following the breath as it exits the body and empties the abdomen. And to the best of your ability, there is no need to control or direct any of this. And whenever you notice that your mind has wandered away from the natural flow of the breath in and out of the body, you'll simply notice that and then return to your breath. You'll be here for a few moments by yourself, and I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Return your awareness to your breath. As you come back to your breath, just take a moment to check in. Notice if there's any part of you longing to linger in this space, in this shape for a few more moments or a few more breath cycles. If there is, you just stay here as long as you'd like. When you are ready to come out, allow gentle movement to re-enter into your physical form. Those in stillness, stay as long as you'd like. Those in movement, you'll gently start to make your way to one of your sides. And then you'll pause there for a few breath cycles. When you're ready, you'll start to roll your chest more towards the floor. Press into your top hand and draw yourself to a tall and comfortable seat. When you are vertical, I do encourage you to elevate your bum on a block or a blanket. We are going to end with a bit of pranayama, so if your space is cold and you want to cover yourself, by all means, that might be a good idea. And then keeping the gaze inward or soft, I want you to sit as well as you can. So you might need to remove any flesh from underneath your sit bones. You might need to wiggle the shoulders or the neck just a bit. And then with your left hand on your thigh, turn the palm to face up. Tuck your thumb into your index finger, rather your index finger into your thumb, and extend out through the other 3 fingers. And then just turn that left palm to face the thigh. Turn your right palm to face the sky. Tuck your middle finger and index finger into the heel of your hand. And then you'll bring your right hand in front of your face. Lower the right thumb to the right nostril, the right ring finger, and pinky finger to the left nostril. Retuck that right elbow so it feels like you can still sit tall through the chest, and then gently exhale all the breath through your mouth. Close your lips and inhale just through your left nostril, closing the right. At the top of your inhalation, you'll gently close your left nostril and exhale out through the right. When you need to draw the breath back in, you'll draw it in through your right nostril. At the top of your inhalation, you'll close your right nostril and exhale out through your left. That counts as 1 round. You'll take 3 more on your own. And you're just working at whatever pace the breath naturally is. Allowing it to be smooth and consistent, slow and steady. And as you're slowly working your way through your rounds of breath, you're noticing any unnecessary tension in the body that you can let go of. And after you've taken your 4 rounds and exhaled the last time through that left nostril, you'll softly lower your right hand. You'll let the heart still be bright and full, the spine energized but relaxed. And you'll just take a few breaths here. And to the best of your ability, can you notice that space between the in-breath and that space between the out-breath? Continue to allow your awareness to rest on the space between the in-breath and the space between the out-breath. Very gently, you'll draw your hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Press your palms into each other. Really receive the weight of your thumbs into your chest and lift your heart back towards your thumbs. Soften your chin towards your throat and gently exhale all the breath from your mouth. Take a big breath in, big breath out. Inhale for Om, join if you'd like. To that light, to that breath, and to that sound, we bow. Namaste.